Pranab Babu, you say that you mix poetry with politics and you spoke about voters in West Bengal pushing away the dark clouds. But some people would say that as the chief crisis manager of the UPA, this has been a year of dark clouds for your government also.
I don't think so. You know, in running a government in a democratic polity, you shall have to face difficult moments. But as at the end of every dark cloud, there is bright sunshine. So the problems apparently may appear to be insurmountable, but ultimately we find a solution to that.
Let's look at the background in which many of these assembly elections are taking place. Many people believe that there is a long shadow of corruption hanging over the political discourse. The most recent thing that has happened is the creation of this committee to draft a Lokpal Bill. There is a perception, Pranab Babu, that the government went from opposing it to complete surrender, that the government lost control.
I would not like to look at from that point of view. First, perception is perception. Perception is not the proof or evidence. Perceptions are to be followed by taking the due course of law. Due process of law should take place. Investigation. After investigation, collecting evidences, placing the evidences before the court, prosecution, and the due process of law should take place. So, perception is one thing, and hard evidence, and on the basis of that evidence, conviction is another thing. I am not going into that aspect, that is the domain of the legal experts. But so far you are talking of the allegations of corruption, but if you look at each and every corruption government has taken initiative to investigate. In regard to the allocation of the 2G spectrum, the first FIR was filed by CBI almost 1 year before the issues were raised and the entire winter session of Parliament was washed out. FIR was lodged in October 2009. Issues became very prominent in the winter session of November 2010. Similarly, on the Commonwealth Games, the day game was over, Prime Minister announced the appointment of the Shunglu Committee. Another perception, I am talking of the perception, I don't know whether there is any corruption or malpractices at all. That is Others Housing Society. Nothing has been proved yet. But as there was a needle of suspicion or doubt, immediately the Chief Minister responded by tendering his resignation. Therefore, this is not correct that the perceptions are there, but other actions, actionable actions by government are not being taken.
Do you believe the government has failed at communicating effectively? I am coming
to that part. Yeah. In respect of the joint drafting committee which you referred to, yes, from one aspect you can say that it is as if government was helpless and they had to concede to it. From the other side, if you look at, from the other side of the spectrum, that government is responsive and responsible. When a section of the civil society demanded that they should be involved in drafting the legislations, and particularly this piece of legislation which is continuing for a very long period of time,
42 years.
Almost 42 years, accepting that proposal, I don't look at as a weakness of the government, rather it is it reflects government's sensitivity and responsiveness to the demand of a section of the civil society.
But isn't it true that the government was not in favor of this initiative?
Let me complete. Yes. This is a new experiment. Frankly speaking, we did not have any such experience. In our system of the legislation, it is primarily the job of the executive to draft the legislations and thereafter to place it before the Parliament, legislature. And thereafter the legislature has its own course of law making and that due course is being followed. This time what has happened, I am admitting it is new. What would be the outcome, I do not know. But we accepted it, and let us try and see if the outcome of it is a positive one, then perhaps it adds to a new dimension of our multifaceted, multi-party political democratic system. After all, democratic experiences in our country are going through different phases. The type of British liberalism with which we started need not necessarily be the last word, because we are a growing society. With the changing of, as Indian Constitution has undergone many amendments, many changes, keeping pace with the changing society. Scenario. Therefore, the democratic function, its structure, its characteristics, it may undergo major changes. There is no harm in it. Question is whether the outcome would be positive or negative. Let us see.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone, fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.